Pajashig, welcome. Welcome to our unceded, unsurrendered Algonquin territory. Monique Benach Indishnikos, Algonquins of Barrier Lake and Docheba. My name is Monique Benach, and I'm a member of the Algonquins of Barrier Lake. And I have to say, I'm so honored to be here today with you. This is an amazing victory for you. This is such a huge accomplishment to be able to graduate in the year of a pandemic where all of your classes have been online and where you've been isolated and alone and unable to interact with your fellow students and with your teachers in the way that we're used to doing and in a way that can actually open things up as far as learning. And so congratulations. This is just, it's so very amazing. I know I have trouble with online courses, so I can imagine other people do too. And to be able to get through it all and to graduate, I think is such a huge, huge accomplishment. And I was thinking about that, and I was thinking about what people are facing during this pandemic and what we're going to continue to face at least for the next little while. And it reminded me of a story that we have in our community, so I'd like to share that with you. The Creator had decided to give all of creation the gift of light. And so everybody got together, all the plants, all the animals, all the trees, all the insects, all the birds, all the fish, everybody, humans, everybody got together to talk about, well, how are we going to take care of this gift? How are we going to make sure that it's protected and taken care of? And so they talked about it and talked about it, and there was this little mouse. And this little mouse, she said, oh, I have an idea. But of course, you know, bears are big and moose are big and people are big. And so they couldn't hear her. So they kept talking. And somebody said, why don't we put it way, way up in the sky? Nobody will get it there. So they thought about it and they talked about it and they talked about it until finally, you know, somebody said, it could be that someday someone can go way up into the sky and take our gift of light. So they thought, yeah, that's true. We better not put it there. And then someone else said, well, why don't we put it deep, deep, deep into the ocean? And they thought, oh, that's an idea. So they talked about it and they thought about it and they talked about it some more. In the meantime, this little mouse, you know, she kept trying. She kept, you know, I have an idea. But of course, nobody could hear her because she's a little tiny mouse. And finally, somebody said, well, you know, maybe someday someone might be able to go deep, deep, deep into the ocean, and they might be able to take our gift of light. So they thought about it some more and talked about it some more, and then finally there was that little lull. You know how the room goes quiet sometimes? And into that lull, the mouse, she kept trying, you know, and she said, I have an idea. And people heard her that time, and they said, well, oh, there you are. What's your idea, little mouse? And she said, let's everyone take a piece of the light and put it inside. Because that way, if somebody's light is failing, we can share ours. And so that they will have light again. And if we're feeling badly, then somebody can share their light with us. And that way, we'll never lose the light because everybody will always have a little piece of it. And so that's what they did. And that's why animals and trees and birds and fish and insects and everything, plants, humans, we all have this little piece of light inside of us. It's our life. It's life. And when we see someone who their light is dimming, they're feeling badly, it's been too hard a row, that we can help them. We can share our light with them. And you know what? There's nothing that makes your own light burn brighter than when you share it with someone else. And even now, during this pandemic, when we're still in isolation, we can still share our light. We can still support each other. We can still help each other to be able to continue and to be able to finish what we need to finish. And so as you're moving forward, you're ending your time in high school, you're moving forward either into post-sec or you're moving forward into work or into training or wherever your life takes you. You know that there are those around you who will share their light with you and with whom you can also share your light. So I'd like to open this space with just a few words to the Creator. Thank you, Creator. Thank you for the water. for the plants, for the trees, for the ones who fly, for the ones who swim, for the ones who crawl, for the furred, for the feathered, for the four-legged, and for the two-legged. And thank you for bringing everyone together here today with open hearts, with open minds. Help everyone to see beauty. Help us all to hear truth, and help us all to share our light with each other, and help keep each other buoyed up, and help keep each other full of life. Kachimigwich, 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 kachimigwich. Congratulations. You deserve this.
As we celebrate this unconventional graduation of the class of 2021, it is important to acknowledge that we are gathered on unceded and unsurrendered Algonquin land. In writing this acknowledgement, I was worried it would come off as insincere or just the process of checking off a box, and that is not at all what this is supposed to be. Land acknowledgements are imperative to show that we recognize the history that is so often brushed over. We need to show that we are allies. We must honor both the land and the ancestral holders of it, and recognize that the use of these lands today come as a result of the displacement of its original holders. Indigenous peoples belong to this place, a belonging that has not diminished despite the history and current reality of colonial habitation and perceived ownership. Indigenous people continue to live on this land and follow the traditions of their ancestors. The next generations of Indigenous children will also belong to the land and will be of this place that we recognize today as unceded and unsurrendered Algonquin land. As we gather to celebrate our academic achievements, it is important to recognize the role that educational institutions in Canada play to assimilate Indigenous children into European culture. We need to accept the truths about the impacts of intentional government education policies designed to erase Indigenous identity through loss of language, family, land, knowledge, culture, traditions, and also resulting in a loss of life. Today, we also mourn the growing number of students being found and anguish the lives of those children who did not survive to return home from a residential school, nor reach a milestone such as today. From Indigenous peoples, we can learn how to honor ceremonies and traditions and will remember the important place that ceremonial traditions play in reflecting cultures, identities, and languages. Land acknowledgements are meant to play a bigger role than just words on a paper. In this land acknowledgement, let us renew the district's commitment to decolonializing education, the commitment they make to landholders, Indigenous students, and families in our schools and communities. Wherever we may find ourselves on Turtle Island, we must remember that we are in Indigenous space and understand that Indigenous people have an ancient and inseparable connection to it. On this unceded and unsurrendered Algonquin territory on which we learned and are now graduating, let's remember to honor and celebrate its memory and future.
Hello, my name is Camille Williams-Taylor. I'm the Director of Education for the OCDSB. I'm pleased to be able to have a moment to bring a few words of congratulations on behalf of the senior team. Graduation Day represents the culmination of years of planning, effort, work, excitement, and sometimes discomfort and worry. This special day represents the attainment of a goal that was set out for you on the first day of school and became a goal that you embraced as your own. Technically, your achievement today represents at least 30 credits, over 3,000 hours of work. Your achievement represents at least 20 hours of community service. It represents experiencing the arts, experiencing French and English, exploring sciences, applying mathematical thinking and reasoning. But that's just for starters. Your arrival at graduation represents collaborating and building a community of your peers and pursuing activities that piqued your interest. And let's not overlook the uphill climb that the last quarter of this journey represented. Over the last year, you continued to work, learn, network, engage while in isolation, on a screen, behind a mask, and at a distance. Essentially, the journey to this day represents a dynamic preparation for what is to come. And what is to come? You all know that you are embarking on your adult lives in a changed world. Some of you are quite certain about your plans. Others may be ambivalent, and I know that there are graduates who want to test the waters before they make up their minds. What I can tell you is that regardless of where you sit right now, the next steps are not clear-cut. You will discover opportunities that you never imagined and barriers that you did not know existed. You will have pleasant surprises and you will encounter situations that will take you aback. And for this uncertain world, you, this class of graduates, are more prepared than most. You know how to be agile and resourceful. You have learned how to exercise patience in the face of ambiguity. You know how to stand up for yourselves and for each other. And most of all, you know that kindness, care, and community matter. As we congratulate you and send you off into the world as young adults brimming with energy and anticipation, I encourage you to draw from the real lessons that have brought you this far. Lesson 1, things are not always as they seem. Think, reserve judgment, ask a question. Lesson 2, collaborate and cooperate. There is so much to learn by drawing on the experiences and perspectives of other people. Lesson 3, seek joy. You have a long road ahead. Engagement and fulfillment are important. Lesson 4, imagine, invent, and create. Our society needs you now more than ever to chart new paths and develop new solutions. And lesson 5, value the people who love you. As you make new networks, be sure to stay in touch with those people who have walked alongside you in good times and when things got tough. Enjoy your success right now. Tomorrow, savor the memories. And then, get on with your next move. We can't wait to see what you'll do next. On behalf of the OCDSB leadership team, please accept our heartfelt congratulations and best wishes for the road ahead.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love, and all of us commend. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Thank you, Natty Sinclair, for that beautiful rendition of O Canada. Hi, my name is Shane Box, and my co-MC for this ceremony is Madame Mana Venzel. We are both very honored to be involved with this year's graduation. Today, we get to recognize an outstanding group of individuals. As students, they have given considerably to their school and to their community. We'd like to start off with a message from our principal, Ms. Erin O'Grady, which will be followed by a message from the board, presented by our trustee, Ms. Donna Blackburn.
Good evening, John McCrae graduates, parents, guests, colleagues, and friends. After many months of isolation and physical distancing, I hope that you've been able to come together this evening to celebrate the class of 2021. Today, we're celebrating a journey that for most of you would have started back in September of 2008. Let me set the stage. Your parents were likely excited and a little anxious to drop you off that first day of kindergarten. From that day forward, you've grown, you've made friendships, and you've met classmates. Some of those classmates are graduating alongside of you today. In your kindergarten year, the 2008 Summer Olympics in Beijing had just come to a close. Barack Obama became the first African-American president of the United States. Rihanna was at the top of the Billboard 100 charts, Kobe Bryant had just won his first NBA championship MVP, and Sidney Crosby became the youngest captain in the history of the NHL to win the Stanley Cup. Closer to home, Michaël Jean, a Haitian refugee and journalist, was the Governor General of Canada. In Ottawa, the average price of a single-family home was $290,000. Now that number is closer to $697,000. Think of everything in our community, our lives, our world that has changed since that first day of school. As young adults in the class of 2021, you've lived your formative years in one of the largest periods of social change and social activism. This is reflected in your actions, your passions, and your beliefs. Never before has the voice of our students been so amplified. You're compassionate, you are hopeful, you are brilliant, and you're opinionated. You know exactly the type of world that you want to live in. A world that recognizes and celebrates your individual identities, and one that addresses inequity, racism, and injustices. And you aren't afraid to tell us. Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, social media has given our youth a platform to speak their truth, to connect with one another, and to pave the way for the future. 2008 was also the year that Google first released Google Chrome. The technologies that we relied on this year during the pandemic didn't even exist when you started school that first day in kindergarten. Can you believe it? What would school during the pandemic have looked like without Google Meets, Google Classroom, Google Docs, and all things Google? The past 15 months have not been easy. We struggled. Some of us more than others. Cohorts, quadmesters, physical distancing, masks, remote learning, and for some of you, virtual school. This past year was an ever-changing, ever-evolving mystery. You struggled, you learned new skills, and you persevered. You've learned the importance of support from your families and the value of good friends. If there's a silver lining to this pandemic, it's the amazing toolbox of skills, habits, and characteristics that you've obtained. Celebrate these successes. Never have I been prouder of a class of students. You are brave, you are resilient, and you've done it. Congratulations, Bulldogs. You have met the tremendous milestone of completing your Ontario Secondary School Diploma. Tonight, I thank your parents for supporting you every step of the way from that first day of kindergarten to today. The past 15 months were not easy for them either. This ceremony is a milestone for them as well. I'm proud of our John McCrae community. Graduation is always a special day for our teachers. Your teachers have worked hard this year to make sure that in spite of the pandemic, that you are still able to learn, to have some fun, and to prepare for what lies ahead. For them, commencement marks the end of a 4-year journey where we have watched you grow into the young adults that we see in front of us today. Whatever the plans you may have for next year, I hope that you're leaving John McCrae with a greater sense of self and the role that you want to play in society. Embrace the opportunities before you. You have earned the right to show your Bulldog pride. Congratulations to you, the John McCrae Secondary School Class of 2021.
It is an honor for me to bring greetings on behalf of the Board of Trustees. I know and want to acknowledge that this is not how you, your families, staff, or the community envisioned your last year of high school or graduation. The pandemic turned your lives and your academic journey upside down, but you rose to the occasion and demonstrated your perseverance and resilience. Resilience being the capacity to recover from difficulties quickly. I was so very pleased to meet with many of you recently and discuss your future plans and goals. Christopher Reeve once said, "A hero is an ordinary individual who finds the strength to persevere in spite of overwhelming obstacles." I want each of you to know you are my hero and there is nothing ordinary about you. John McCrae Secondary School has always had a special place in our community, a place where we always remember those who came before us to make life better for all of us. I know that as you move forward, you will carry on that Bulldog tradition. Take care of yourself and each other, and I wish you all the very best.
Due to COVID-19, we are not able to celebrate in person, but we are excited to be able to celebrate such a monumental occasion with our graduating class right now. With this virtual commencement ceremony, although not comparable to an in-person event, and we are definitely missing seeing your smiling faces, we will still aim to celebrate our graduating students of 2021 with the special attention that they deserve. We will recognize the accomplishments of each student with their own slide. Each graduating student will receive their OSSD, the Ontario Secondary School Diploma. In addition, some students may have earned additional certificates, as described in the program. While watching the slides, we hope that you enjoy the background music. This music is a compilation of several of our graduating students that were part of a fantastic music program here at John McCrae. The musical pieces are from the John McCrae Concert Band, the John McCrae Jazz Combo, and the John McCrae Senior Jazz Band, under the direction of Mr. Mike Studley and Mr. Craig Sheridan.
Congratulations to the first half of our 2021 John McCrae graduates. Before we proceed to our remaining graduate presentations, we would like to share a video that was put together in the last couple of weeks. In this video, we have images and messages from graduating students, as well as messages from several teachers and our administration. Thanks to our graduating students for their submissions, Mr. Nash, Ms. Comrie, Ms. Cameron, Ms. Wingrove for collecting, editing, and producing the following video.
Thanks to all of those graduates and teachers who shared those wonderful messages, and thanks again to Mr. Nash for making this great video. We will now continue to present our remaining graduates with their diplomas and certificates. Again, while our graduates are being recognized for their accomplishments this year, it will be accompanied by our music program under the direction of Mr. Studley and Mr. Sheridan.
Congratulations to the John McCrae graduating class of 2021. You accomplished so much, especially during on-again, off-again, on-again, in-person, cohorted, 4-hour classes, alternating weeks and alternating days. It seems incredible that we could have fit all of that into the past 10 months. We will continue our commencement ceremony as we recognize some of our graduates with the presentation of our special awards.
Craig Sheridan.
The William R. Dakin Scholarship. This scholarship is awarded to a senior student for outstanding achievement in University English in their graduating year. This year's recipients are Isabel Liu and Owen Pilson. The John McCrae Math Science Award. This is awarded to a senior student for outstanding achievement in 2 senior university math courses and 2 senior university science courses. This year's recipient is Hyun-Yi Gao.
The John McCrae Business Studies Award. This award is granted to a student who played a continued positive role in business academics and ethics throughout high school. This year's recipient is Akshayan Jivagan. The Ontario Music Educators Association Music Directors Award. This award acknowledges excellence in achievement and commitment to music. The student has demonstrated not only excellence in musical performance, but also leadership within the music department throughout high school. This year's recipient is Omar Yazao.
The Craig Hadwin Memorial Scholarship. Donated in memory of Craig Hadwin, this is given to the graduating music student who is the highest overall average and is proceeding to post-secondary education. This year's recipient is Willem Farmillo. The Success for Life Award. The Success for Life Award recognizes a graduating student who is demonstrating outstanding achievement in their cooperative education placement during the school year. This year's recipient is Molly Fullerton.
The Ontario Youth Apprenticeship Program Bursary. This is awarded to a graduating student who has completed cooperative education credits during their graduation year and will be pursuing an apprenticeship program. This year's recipient is Jack Conroy. The Kiwanis Club of Nepean. This award is presented to a deserving graduating student who will be attending post-secondary education. This year's recipients are Anas Abusheka and Abigail Shaver.
The Barrhaven Lions Club Award. This award is presented to a graduating student who will be attending an Institute of Further Learning and demonstrates a commitment to helping others through volunteering. This year's recipient is Paige Benson. The Mike's Music Jazz Award. This award is given to the student who is demonstrating outstanding musical achievement and leadership in the John McCrae Jazz Ensembles. This year's recipient is Kevin Wong.
The Greg and Tom McAvoy Memorial Scholarship. Donated in memory of Greg and Tom McAvoy, this scholarship is presented to a deserving graduating student who has demonstrated leadership and involvement in school and/or community activities. This student is proceeding to a program in the fields of health sciences, physical and health education, sports administration, or recreation leisure services. This year's recipient is Nima Akinwande. The Staff Alumni Bursary. This award is presented to a student who shines brightly in our classrooms while demonstrating a great work ethic and a desire to learn. This year's recipient is Haley Miller.
The JMSS Staff Respect Award. This award is determined by the current faculty at John McCrae. It is presented to the graduating student who has best demonstrated dedication, perseverance, and resilience in all aspects of life throughout their time at John McCrae. This year's recipient is Milind Kumar. The Elaine Trenholm Memorial Award. This award is presented to a student who has been a positive role model both at John McCrae and in the community, and has achieved academic success in pursuit of a college education. This year's recipient is Brock McElroy.
The Tool Belt Award. This is presented to the student who achieved the highest level in a construction or house building program and who is dedicated to pursuing the apprenticeship pathway after graduation. This year's recipient is Jamie Tang. Ross's Independent Grocer Community Builder Award. This award is based on the students' demonstration of the highest ethics, respect for diversity, quality of leadership, initiative, school advocacy, involvement in community, fitness, health, and other related endeavors while in pursuit of academic studies. This year's recipient is Willem Farmillo.
The Lieutenant Governor's Community Volunteer Award, awarded to a graduating student to recognize their exemplary volunteer involvement in the community. This year's recipient is Haley Stevenson. The Spirit of the Graduating Class Award. This award is presented to a graduating student who made an unfailing positive contribution to school culture by demonstrating integrity, determination, and above all, the willingness and confidence to be themselves in every situation. This year's recipient is Alejandro Giggey and Anaga Ramsaran.
The Unsung Hero Award. The Unsung Hero Award, donated by Captain Paul L. Bender, a veteran of the Second World War who served in the Merchant Navy, is awarded to the graduating student who quietly, unselfishly, and positively contributed to the life of the school. This year's recipient is Tracy Z. The OCDSB Student Recognition Award. The OCDSB Student Recognition Award celebrates excellence in student leadership. This student is chosen for demonstrating the will to succeed, the dedication to finish what they started, and the commitment to achieve their personal best. This year's recipients are Naomi Kapoor and Aya Mahdi.
The Principals Award. The Principals Award has been created to be presented throughout every high school in Ontario. The award will be presented to a graduating student for scholastic achievement and for making a major contribution to the life of John McCrae Secondary School. This year's recipient is Andy Zhang. The Governor General's Medal. The Governor General's Medal, established in 1873, recognizes a student who's achieved the highest academic average. This year's recipient is Freya Zhang.
This concludes the presentation of the special awards. Congratulations to each of those recipients. We would now like to introduce Ms. Kelsey Brown, who has the honor of introducing your valedictorian.
Good evening. It is my distinct honor to have been asked to introduce the valedictorian for John McCrae's class of 2021. Recently, she shared a story with me about something her mother once told her. Her mother has said that there are often two kinds of people in the world, those who judge and those who do. I believe that we have all, at one time or another, fallen into the former category. However, it is the latter that marks our valedictorian's time here at John McCrae. Rather than be defeated by a grade 12 year that was by no means close to what many had hoped for or imagined, she instead took this year on as a personal challenge, one in which she became immediately resourceful and incredibly creative. Though I believe that the entire high school journey is ultimately about character building, this year was a test in itself, with expectations that our valedictorian not only met, but exceeded. As someone who had the pleasure of teaching her, this is something I can confidently attest to. She participated not to have her voice heard, but to encourage her peers and show them it was okay to speak up. She asked questions not to challenge those around her, but because she is naturally inquisitive and eager to learn. She works hard in class not simply to achieve a better grade, but to explore, learn, and grow. She also maintains a clear focus on community building, both present and future. As co-president of Student Council, she knew that she was responsible for ensuring students were well informed. She fostered student participation and ensured student voices were both heard and acted upon. Better yet, her leadership role was also one through which she fostered future leadership. She encouraged the younger members of Student Council to take on their own leadership roles to help them see that they too are capable of successfully representing their peers, providing Student Council with a strong foundation on which to build in the following years. Though the valedictorian is defined as a representative and exemplary member of the graduating class, I have noticed over the years that the qualities we use to determine the valedictorian also extend well beyond the walls of the school. The previously mentioned attributes are also demonstrated in her work within her community and in her relationships with her friends and family. She uses dance to spread awareness about issues that are important to her, and she teaches younger dancers along the way. Whether it be in a blog post or classroom conversation, she regularly shares how integral her friends and family are to both her happiness and success. Their commitment to her well-being, their unwavering support, these qualities have all evidently impacted our valedictorian, as they are the very same things I see her extend in return. She genuinely cares about those around her and does her best to provide them with the same encouragement and support. Overall, she is an advocate, both for those around her and for the things in which she believes. She recently spoke to me about some of the individuals that have caught her attention in the various audiobooks she has on the go. One of these individuals was Shonda Rhimes. Got me thinking, maybe Shonda Rhimes has a commencement video out there somewhere where I can get some inspiration. Bingo. In Rhymes's commencement speech, she concludes by telling students to be brave, be amazing, be worthy, and every single time you get a chance, stand up in front of people, let them see you, speak, be heard, be yourself, always be yourself. I had planned on sending these words to our valedictorian as advice when I started writing this introduction, but I realized this advice was coming far too late. Our valedictorian already does all of these things, and that is exactly why I'm here introducing you to her today. Colleagues, parents, guardians, and grads, in a year unlike any other, please join me in welcoming the valedictorian for John McCrae Secondary Schools class of 2021, Naomi Kapoor.
First, in honor of the great Creator and its land, the shoulders of my ancestors whom I stand upon, the adult allies of this structured and now virtual institution, and our friends, fellow graduates, those who are watching this by a click of a link, and those who are watching on the other side. Many of you have probably endured one of my long tangents regarding anthropology, the study of humankind, why today's humankind is the most dominant species in the world. When grade 11 rolled around, many students started learning about the Homo sapiens and Neanderthals during the class of Intro to Anthropology, Psychology, and Sociology. Through this class, we started appreciating the magic that our species can hold. In fact, this so-called magic is beautifully demonstrated in this particular class of 2021. It all started in freshman year, when our magic started to kindle. This newfound freedom we discovered, school lunch breaks without boundary lines, seemed so out of the ordinary. Moreover, we discovered that our middle school math teachers lied to us. We were actually encouraged to bring a calculator to class. The school is larger, the kids were taller and hairier. It was intimidating. But because of this intimidation and fright, we learned we needed to adapt, and we did just that. From sweaty palms and awkward conversations, we flourished. Some were off winning Waterloo math competitions, and some founded the official John McCrae Key Club. Eventually, we paved the way for ourselves, and more importantly, those students who will follow in her footsteps. Prior to writing this speech, I tasked some of you to provide me with a word or two that illustrates a common goal this class has held. Most repeatedly, and you guessed it, it was our ability to adapt. One of this class's prime goals was to better the mental health care for every single individual we know. And in a time where we can't see, touch, or speak to people in a tangible manner, we found a way around those barriers. We adapted. When faced with the inherent challenges, the unforeseen, such as the times that we find ourselves in now, the class of 2021 has consistently united to not only lean on each other, but also to devise creative solutions. One of our own kickstarted an initiative that bridged the gap between mental health care and fitness. Through his inclusive and action-oriented project, he has helped students and staff discover a silver lining of all this extra time we have on our hands. But it's deeper than that. Introverted or extroverted, humans thrive on collaboration with others. We are living in a time where the only difference between a classroom and a bedroom is the connection we have with our peers. Luckily, the friendships we built prior to March 13th, 2020 with our friends, teachers, faculty members, through events like raising money for Relay for Life or watching volleyball or intramurals, ensured that we had each other's backs. We are people. You have all probably thought about how this pandemic will be in history books, how we're living through the pages this school will eventually add into their curriculum. However, let me remind you what we've walked through. When the early four-legged hominids, or then humans, started migrating to different geographies, they encountered the savanna. The trees were gone, water bodies became scarce, and their land became flat. To keep their journey moving forward, they needed to start walking with 2 legs instead of 4. The journey was weary and difficult. They just sacrificed 2 legs. Similar to the same journey we face when trying to walk through Walter Baker during lunchtime. However, we adapted. We found ways around it. We went to Saatchi's and bought overpriced paninis, sunshine bagels, and fries, and took the staircase route instead. But more importantly, we had companions with us. We had friends who mooched off us, or of whom we mooched, whether that be elevator passes to avoid the stairs, or those aforementioned expensive fries. We had friends who luckily were taking a photography class and used it as an excuse to say, "Hey ma'am, I have to go help my friend with a project." But companionship is not limited to your friends. Sometimes companionship comes from people who hold higher expectations for you. During our last 4 years in high school, we've had the opportunity to learn from a variety of educators. They were the mentors that guided us through this process of adaptation. I am so thankful to have 3 very impactful women in my life. Our adult allies have been the pillars behind John McCrae's constant transition between synchronous and asynchronous learning. From Miss O'Grady and Miss Small, I learned that building a sense of community is about conquering impactful goals with one another. With their compassion and, more importantly, their challenges, I learned that in order to take a leadership role, you must understand all sides of any story. But my ultimate inspiration is my mother, Garika Kapoor, the woman who has taught me the one thing I have been attempting to explain today, that the only constant factor in this very peculiar world is change. Without change, we can't grow, we can't make mistakes, and of course, we can't adapt. Alongside my father, Richie Kapoor, they have taught me that when you have nothing, you can always create something. And through their unconditional love and sacrifice, I know that they've provided me with the 2 attributes that make humans the most magical species in the world: adaptation and companionship. Let us acknowledge and appreciate the collective effort it requires to help a student receive their high school diploma. Our primary agents in life, such as our parents, guardians, and grandparents, all play a prime role in our growth and development. These will be the people who stay true to you and your growth when all of your chips are down. And you've all Noah Harari's novel, by the way, the inspiration for this speech. He preaches that questions you cannot answer are usually far better for you than the answers you cannot question. One of the human's most valuable traits is trying to understand why. And in a year that tested everyone around the globe, we searched why more than ever. Why is the NBA postponed? Why are we in a quadmester system? Why don't I know what the future exactly has in mind for me? And still to this day, some of us are still asking these questions. And while most of these questions are left unanswered, we have seen some of them inspire us, challenge us, and push us to act on meaningful causes and grow together in unison. If you haven't understood just yet, the graduating class is a product of hardship, resilience, and adaptation. Right now, we may be going through a biological revolution, but we've also witnessed a gender proclamation of inclusion and diversity. When we came into high school, the #MeToo movement was dominating our social media. In 2020, we said goodbye to one of the world's greatest basketball players. We also started advocating against systemic racial injustice. As students, we are living in a very special time, a time of reform and growth, and whether your goal the past 4 years has been to get the highest grades in class or simply just pass, you still made it, and you made it in history books. So congratulations to the John McCrae class of 2021. Thank you.
Thank you for that wonderful address to your fellow graduates, Naomi. It has been a great pleasure for us to have been able to recognize and celebrate each of our graduates' accomplishments from this past year. We believe that although it's been a slightly different year, you've shown your character, your resiliency, your adaptability, your perseverance. all traits that will be used as you make the transition into the next phase of your lives. It reminds me of the following story. A man found a cocoon of a butterfly. One day, a small opening appeared. He sat and he watched the butterfly for several hours as it struggled to squeeze its body through the tiny hole. Then it stopped, as if it could go no further. So the man decided to try to help the butterfly. He took a pair of scissors and he snipped off the remaining bits of the cocoon. The butterfly emerged easily, but it had a swollen body and shriveled wings. The man continued to watch it, expecting that at any minute the wings would enlarge and expand enough to support the body. Neither happened. In fact, the butterfly spent the rest of its life crawling around. It was never able to fly. What the man in his kindness and haste did not understand, the restricting cocoon and the struggle required to get the butterfly through the opening was the way of forcing the fluid from the body into the wings so they'd be ready for flight once it was achieved. Sometimes struggles are exactly what we need in our life. Going through life with no obstacles would cripple us. We will not be as strong as we could have been. We would never fly. This year has been a struggle for many of us. On behalf of the John McCrae staff, we thank you for making this tough year for everyone slightly better. With your positivity, your creativity, flexibility, and dedication to your growth as a person. We definitely wish you and hope for a more normal experience for each of you in all of your endeavors in the next few years. We had the struggle. Now it's your time to fly. We would like to ask our knowledge keeper, Monique Manach, to conclude our ceremony.
So I hope as you move forward, past high school, into your summer, into your fall, and whatever awaits you, that you'll remember to be kind and compassionate with each other, that you'll remember to take what you've learned from high school and apply it in your lives with your friends and with your family and with your community, and that you'll be able to move forward in a way that is good. And remember, everybody has a different path. There are so many options and so many places to go. And don't be afraid to take your own path. And don't be worried if your path doesn't take you directly where you want to go, because sometimes if you take a right instead of a left, or you zig where you should have zagged, or maybe you shouldn't have zagged, maybe you should have zigged, it brings you to a place where surprises can happen and good things can happen. So I encourage you to not be afraid of that, to look forward with confidence and knowing that wherever life takes you, you'll be able to handle it. I mean, you managed to graduate during a pandemic. That's pretty amazing. So I'd like to close this space with just a few words to the Creator. Kachimigwich Jemnido, we are grateful for the rivers, for the streams, for the lakes, for all the waters, and for everything you've put in our homeland. We are grateful for the medicines and the ceremonies. We are grateful for the fish and the animals and the birds and the good human beings. We are grateful for all the gifts that you have given us, and we ask that you help us use those gifts in a way that is beneficial to our families and our friends and to our communities. We ask that you help us reach the wisdom of our ancestors so that we can take that and use it in our lives and use it to help us fulfill our responsibilities. We remember those friends and family who are ill or suffering from addictions and hope that they come back to us soon, and hope that they have a good day today, and that they are able to be once again role models and mentors in our communities. And we ask that you help us live up to our responsibilities, to live a life full of respect for all living things. Kachimigwich, 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 Kachimigwich. Thank you very much, and congratulations.